Could this be over money? Because Rodgers said to McAfee that he wants to have something done right by him by the Packers, and that was the end of his, his answer, talking about how he's, debatably the best player in the history of the franchise, and they should do right by him towards the end of his stay there. That rings a bell to me. I'm just wondering. The compensation is not the issue between the teams; it's the compensation between Rodgers and the Packers. Is that possible at all?
I have been poking around this issue from every possible angle, and I have yet to hear that there's an issue with Aaron Rodgers' contract. And from the Packers' perspective, they actually have a higher cap number for Rodgers if they trade him before June 1 than if he's on the roster. They actually do, and that's one of their arguments for getting more than maybe what they should. Hey, Jets, by doing this deal before June 1, we take on a higher cap charge for Aaron Rodgers this year as we clear the dead money off the books. So I think this is all about what the Packers want from the Jets to get this deal done. They're digging in their heels, as Rodgers told McAfee last week, and I think that's what it all comes down to. And that's why I think what the Jets should do, it's very simple. Because we have to agree on when the deadline is. You hit the nail on the head. 12:01. When is 12:01? Both sides have to agree because nobody moves toward their bottom line until they believe the real deadline is coming. I think the Jets should say, hey, Packers, if you want to get this done before the draft, here's our offer with 2023 draft pick, one or more picks, whatever it is. Here's our offer. And if you don't want that, then after the draft, here's our offer based on 2024 picks, and we'll also throw in something in 2025 if he plays for us in 2024. Our deadline is starting training camp. And then I think separately the Jets need to say to Rodgers, you need to tell the Packers, if this isn't done by training camp, you're showing up just like Favre did in 2008. That puts the pressure on the Packers from multiple possible directions. And at some point before week 1, when his $58.3 million option bonus converts to salary, and it's all guaranteed, they're paying him that money if they don't get rid of him, at some point before week 1, the Packers are going to decide we have to move on. We have to take what we can and get past this financial obligation.
Right. And so what can it be as simple as, if this is what it is, can it be as simple as what's the difference between costing the Packers money by getting them off the books pre-June 1 and after June 1, and the Jets pick up that difference? Could it be that?
Hey, Rich, it's as easy as this. After June, let's do the trade after June 1. Process it after June 1.
Right.
I mean, this gives Rodgers cover for not participating in the offseason program. Because if he would be traded today, and we have the press conference early next week, and all the people are in the room, and they're asking all the questions, somebody's going to say, are you going to be at the offseason program? Because he's got a history of not showing up. If you don't do the deal until after the offseason program ends, that's even better. And he could gather his guys together in California, work with the new receivers. He knows the offense like the back of his hand. It's Nathaniel Hackett installing the Packers offense. They don't need him. And the Packers actually get a much better cap situation after June 1 if they do the trade then. So there are reasons for the Jets to dig in and be willing to have this happen as late as the start of training camp. And I said, why not just blow the dust off the old Brett Favre trade terms? It's a fourth up to a first, depending upon how many snaps Rodgers takes and how well they do. And I think the first-round pick would have been unlocked if Favre took 80% of the snaps and they made it to the Super Bowl. Whatever it is. If you want to add a sweetener in there or something, make it a little bit different, like I said earlier, a 2025 draft pick if he plays a second year. But after we get through the 23 draft, it's a lot easier to condition the pick on what Rodgers and the Jets actually do in 2024. And if that's the case, there's an incentive for the Packers to get it done, because the sooner Rodgers is there, the better they do, the higher the pick.
That's right. And then the Jets can use their draft capital this year, and then the picks that they eventually send for Rodgers, if they're high draft choices, they won't be that high up because Rodgers will get them so deep into the season it'll damn near be a second-round pick. And you give Zach Wilson all the reps that he desperately needs during the spring. That's it. So what's the big deal? You know, it's amazing to me, man. This league, it's got to strike midnight for people to work.
Is upset because 2 years ago Rodgers tried to get him fired. I think it's that simple. Remember that report from Charles Robinson? Rodgers wanted Gutekunst fired. Rodgers never, and we know how Rodgers reacts to anything that he believes is even remotely fake news about him. He never said boo about that being false. Gutekunst took the high road, but this is a way for them to push back a little bit. And, Rich, they want the first-round pick of the New York Jets. They want 13 overall for Rodgers. And when you consider how many quarterbacks are going to come off the board, that's a valuable pick.
Damn
the
straight.
Quarterback position is under control. That's a top 10 pick if you don't need a quarterback. So the Jets don't want to give that up, and I don't think they should have to.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.